Okay, so welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a great Shabbos. Um, it was definitely an interesting Shabbos for all of us, and it's nice to see all of you over here. And we should have chizuk. We did send that there might be a password. I'm not sure if there was a password to log on. I understand that there was no need for a password to get on today, but you should know that Zoom is being a little bit more strict with their rules because they've been what they call now a Zoom bombing, where you could have a big shear for 1,000 people, and then somebody could come in who's not from the shear, and he could put on anti-Semitic things or inappropriate pictures. They could use share screen. That's why also when Rabbi Wein was giving the shir, we needed to make sure that there would be no screen sharing or things like that. Um, but and that's why we thought we might need a password, but I'm happy everyone is able to log on. We already have over 35 people here. So I hope everybody had a great Shabbos. It was definitely, when you're doing this now, third week in a row, we're getting more into it and more into the Avirah. For us, Friday night was actually a unique and a special time to be singing together with the kids. Eliyah was the chazan for the first time. We appointed him to be the chazan in our home minyan with me, my wife, and the girls. And I'm also happy to say that he's working really hard to finish Maseches Kiddushin so that we can make a siyum on Wednesday morning for all the Bechorim. Eliyah is my Bechor. And last year he made a siyum. This year he's going to be making a siyum as well. And he's trying to really take upon himself to make a siyum. We might have two siyumim even in 2 different hours. We're going to finalize the details of the siyumim, and I'm going to be discussing it together with Mark, our president, who again, he's here on the line. So it's a great opportunity to say thank you again to Mark, who's really been pushing this forward. And also a big thank you to Morty Tarragon, who took the shir, Rabbi Wein shir, and he posted it on our shul website. And anyone who wants a copy of that, who wants to listen to the audio of Rabbi Wein shir, he also trimmed all of our schmoozing conversations until the shir started. So thank you again, Morty Tarragon, for that and for facilitating that for us. And we have a big schus, as we saw on Thursday, to have Amara de Astra, to have our Rav, Rabbi Wein, with his words of inspiration, his words of chizuk. Definitely gives us a lot of chizuk from wherever he is around the world, that we're able to hear him. I would like to go over a few issues that I think are nogea for us moving forward in this week, halachic issues, and then to give us one, starting with to focus on Pesach, words of inspiration for Pesach, for the Seder, so that we could get ready for our Seder that each and every one of us are doing alone. And for some of us, it's the first time we're doing Seder in years. One of our members told me it's over 20 years. Others, it's the first time ever that they're making their Seder. And for many of us, it's definitely the first time that we're doing it totally alone. Some of us alone just by ourselves, some with our spouses. But, so we're going to try to prepare at least our mindset. And I encourage each and every one of us to take time to open up the Agada, to look and to prepare and to come ready for the Seder. Because as somebody told me, that these weeks, it's like there's no gray area in relationships anymore. It's either you're all in or it's too hard to deal with, because sometimes when we're so busy in our lives, so relationships could have a gray area. We sort of ignore certain things because we're busy and we make do. But now that we're living together with our children, with our spouses, or relationships, even if we're totally alone at home, and we need to keep our relationship with somebody who's not with us. So there's no room for a gray area in the relationship. It's either it's working really well and we're thriving through this time period, or it's like really, really hard for us, and we realize that we need to make it better. And the same is true also for preparing for our Pesach. It's up to us now. It's not going to be our children and grandchildren that are going to be bringing in that energy and those questions and the manishtana. It's going to be up to us. It's true, we don't have to stay up till 1 a.m. We could do it. It doesn't have to be that long. We should go through the Agada, and we should go through the the entire Seder and the cups and this. But it could be a unique opportunity an opportunity of celebration, an opportunity of growth. And they say that the Lubavitcher Rebbe, all the years, he didn't have any children, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he all the years he used to do the Seder just him and his wife. And when his wife was nifter, so they thought that maybe he'll have it with one of the Hasidim, or he'll join some of the Talmidim, his prized Talmidim. But he announced to his Talmidim that he chose the year that his wife was nifter to do the Seder totally alone. From then on, he always did the Seder alone, and he felt that there's room to do the Seder alone, even though there's certain halachos. You have to ask questions. So who are you asking questions to? So you ask questions to yourself, and you say, why is tonight any different than any other night? Now, you're not asking it to anybody else. You're asking it to yourself. But that in itself, there's also room for growth and room for getting tremendous things out of the night when even when we're doing the Seder alone. And I want to get back to that in a few minutes, but I just want to discuss a few questions that might come up on the halacha that might come up. So number one is, let's see where we should start. Okay, so the siyum is one halacha that we said that if you're a bechor, you could tap into our Zoom siyum. That's going to be on Wednesday morning. I saw some rabbis that said that it is best if you make your own siyum, even on a masechta of mishnayos. So pick a masechta of mishnayos, like it'd be like Sukkah or Rosh Hashanah. It has only 4 prakim. Sukkah has 5, Rosh Hashanah has 4. If Moed Katan that deals with Chol Moed has 3 prakim, and learn a masechta of mishnayos by Wednesday morning if you're a bechor. Something that is good advice. Number 2 is to prepare a little extra something to eat when we do make the siyum on Zoom. So that's about Tainis Bechoros. People were asking about reading the Torah, about Hallel on Pesach night. A lot of different things. Do we say Vayichulu? What about Yizkor at the end of Yontiv? A lot of different issues that might come up. So I want to discuss them one at a time. And if I have time, I'll try to maybe write it down on a document so that we can have it clearly for ourselves. But these are not questions that are in reference to cleaning and preparing for Pesach, but more our tefillah and how we should carry on our services when we don't have a minyan, when we don't have a tzibur, that we're used to doing the tzibur. So we are still going to be sending out, and Moshe Lashinsky, our Gabbai, is in charge of the Zmanim. And beware of the Zmanim. So number 1, when it comes to Seder night, so the din is, because the 4 cups of wine are to be drunk during the Seder, during the Haggadah, when we have the mitzvah of eating the matzah and the mar. Therefore, we do not make early Seder. We have to make sure that the Dalet Kosos, including the Kiddush, is done after Tzesa Kochavim. Tzesa Kochavim is 7:44 this year. And therefore, the sitting down for the Seder should be after 7:44 p.m. on Wednesday evening. And it's important to start the Kiddush then, or when you start the Simanim of Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. So normally we wait for husbands to come back from Shul. And we're very meduyak on the Zman in Shul to make sure that we start Mariv late enough so that it's part of the thing. But now that we're davening at home, we have to make sure that it's after 7:44. Some are makbid to even daven Mariv after 7:44 because we normally say the Hallel in Shul with a bracha on Pesach night. Hallel is recited the whole year only during the day, but one night a year we recite the Hallel in Shul with a bracha, which is Pesach night. Now, the truth is that it's a machlokas. The Mechaber says that you recite it with a bracha. The Rama says you don't even need to say it. But kuli alma lo pligi, that the minhag, it's a minhag to say Hallel and to say with a bracha, which is a machlokas, whether to say it at all or to say with a bracha or not. But everyone agrees that it's a din on the tzibur, that when we're together as a community, that's when we say the Hallel with the bracha. Therefore, there's a discussion if one should be, when he davens Mariv on Pesach night, if he should be saying the Hallel by himself. But if you look at the Mefarshim, it's definitely, it seems not to say with a bracha, and the majority of the Mefarshim would say not to even say Hallel at all with the Mariv. Normally we finish Mariv and then we say the Hallel, but rather we're at the table, we finish our Mariv, and then we sit down at the Seder table, and at the Seder, when we read the Haggadah, part of the Haggadah is actually saying the Hallel. So therefore, we will say the Hallel just in the Haggadah Shel Pesach, just part of the Seder. And therefore, if you want to daven Mariv a few minutes earlier, according to some, that's okay. You could daven Mariv at 7:30. It's already the Zman of davening Mariv. Even though Tzeisa Kochavim is 7:45, you could daven Mariv a few minutes beforehand. And because Shkia is like, I don't know the exact time. But one could daven Mariv a little bit beforehand. Either way, there is a minhag on Wednesday, on Erev Pesach, to daven Mincha earlier. You daven Mincha earlier because, first of all, the Karban Tamid was brought earlier because they got ready for Karban Pesach, and there's a minhag. We used to do this going to the Kotel on Erev Pesach. To daven Mincha earlier, on a regular year, we would bake matzahs mitzvah on Erev Pesach Achar Chatzos, just like the Karban Pesach. But definitely to open up the Agadah, there is what's in the beginning, it's called Seder Karban Pesach, is to say over what the Jewish people used to do on Erev Pesach and preparing the Karban Pesach. So there's a meaning to do that as well. So this is all, we're discussing all of this because this is all to prepare us for the Seder. It's a big night. It's a night where we say the Hal. It's a night where we're preparing for the Karban Pesach, where we're davening that we should be zocha for the real Karban Pesach, and that everyone should come together and we should have those Yemosa Mashiach. But until then, we have Neshalma Parim Sfaseinu, our lips. They're the ones that give our service, and therefore that's what we're going to do now. On Pesach day, the first day is when we switch over our Shmona Esrei from Mashiv Ruach Umorid Agashem to V'tein Tal, to Morid Atal. We switch over to Morid Atal on the first night, on the first day, right before Musaf, the first day of Pesach, and we no longer are asking for rain, but rather for dew, for Talu Matar. For the dew should come down V'tein Tal. And that's why we have the Tfilas Tal. We have the Tfilas Tal. Now, we're not going to be Zocha to have and to hear Moshe Lashinsky's Tfilas Tal. And the din is actually the Tfilas Tal was instituted also for the Tzibur to say, because the Tzibur, they're the ones, I saw Rav Shechter brought this down, that we're changing from B'Shem the Rab, B'Shem Rav Soloveitchik. He says that when we're changing the Toar of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the name of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, from Mashiva Ruach Umarid Agashim to V'tein Tal Umatar Livracha Al Pnei Adama, that we were asking Hashem to, just for Morid Atal, that we're saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Morid Atal, so we're changing one of the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You need the Tzibur to say it, and therefore normally it's done in a Tzibur. But Rav Shechter said that this year, number one, we don't have the Tzibur, and just the fact that all the individuals in our city and in our country, and in fact in the whole world, are changing the Toar of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he's not only the mighty one who brings down the rain, but he's also the mighty one who brings down the dew in the summer, which is what's needed to sustain us through the summer. And therefore, that is enough. And he said on top of that, there is a few minyanim. We know that there's a minyan in the Kotel happening once a day. There's a 3 times a day. They do have a minyan where it's like, I could send you a video. I saw it. It's like 10 people, no more, spread throughout the entire Kotel courtyard. So they're like 6 meters away from one another. But they do have a minyan there 3 times a day. And there will be a minyan that is going to be saying Tfilas Atal. We do not have to say Tfilas Atal, but if you want to say the Mizmor, you want to say the Piyut, you're allowed to. So therefore, on Pesach morning, one will say the Piyut of Morid of Tfilas Tal. I'm sure Moshe at home is going to put on a kittel and do the whole davening with the nigun, and we're all going to feel it from our own homes. And then we're going to start saying Morid Atal and no longer Mashiv Ruach Morid Ageshev. So that happens during the day. By the way, I noticed Friday night, it's important to mention, we say Vayechulu after davening, after Shmona Esrei when we're davening at home, but we do not say the Me'ain Sheva. We don't say the Kelodos Adonai Shalom. We don't say the rest of it. We only say Vayechulu Hashemayim Ba'aretz. When you're davening Shabbos morning, you don't say Yakum Purkan, because that's something for the Tzibur as well. It's good to read the Parsha from a Chumash, just so that you're still reading the Parsha and you're acquainted with what Parsha we're in. Yizkor is going to be said on the 7th day of Pesach, not on the first day of Pesach. The 7th day of Pesach is when we normally say Yizkor during the day. One could say the full Yizkor when he is beyechidus, when he is alone at home. Both men and women should say the normal Yizkor that they say at in shul during Shvi Shel Pesach. You should say it at home. You could light a yahrzeit candle at home, an extra candle next to your Shabbos candles, and we say Yizkor, and we say Kel Malei Rachamim, and you should find it in the Seder, and you should have the name that you plan on saying written out in advance. If you need help saying it and pronouncing it, I saw that Morty Tarragon prepared a form for us online. Maybe we're going to send it out, but the best is that if each and every one of us says their own Yizkor and says their own Kel Malei Rachamim on the 7th day of Pesach. On Shabbos Chol Hamoed, we're going to be saying Shira Shirim, and so therefore it's good to bring out a Chumash and to say Shira Shirim on Shabbos Chol Hamoed of Pesach. On top of that, I saw there's a discussion on Tuesday night when we do B'dikas Chametz. Should we daven Mara first or check for the Chametz first? It's best to go with a regular year where you're going to daven Mara first Tuesday night and then check the Chametz. These are all different issues that are going to be coming up in reference to our tefillah, in reference to our getting ready for the Seder. And it's just important that everyone, when they're doing it by themselves, that they're still doing it the right way. They're doing it the best way possible. And that's why we're doing this. I'm going to try to type it up maybe on a list so that we get a list of these things. But it was important for me to go over it verbally. If anybody else has questions in reference to the tefillah, in reference to koshering things, you could still fill out a form. Some people called me up about selling dishes if they got new dishes. So until tomorrow is going to be the day that I'm selling. I already did one round, but we're going to be selling. If you have new dishes that need tevilah, that need to go to the mikvah, I'm going to be selling your dishes to a non-Jew, and then they are going to be giving it back to you as a gift so that you could use their dishes over Pesach without tevilah. And the moment when all of this is behind us, the moment you're tovel the dishes, that's when they're coming back to your possession, and therefore you're going to be tovel your own dishes. A moment right before you're tovel the dishes, that's when they're going to be konen back to you. I'm going to do a kinyan on your behalf, mezakeh le'adam shelo b'fanav, that and give that to the guy after he acquires everything. You're going to give him some money so that when you choose to do the dishes, to be tovel them, that's when the keli will be back to your possession, and that's when it's chayiv in tevilah again. So one could still send out those forms. And mechiras chametz, if you have not filled out the mechiras chametz form, you should make sure to fill it out. We're selling the chametz. You could include your car in it, but you don't have to. If you're putting in your address, it includes wherever you choose your chametz is. If you have chametz in your car, I'm assuming most of us haven't been using our car. Normally, we clean out our spaces in our shul, and everyone is responsible to clean out the space in the shul. So this year, we're going to be doing bittul. No one is going to be coming into the shul. Everyone should have in mind that if they know of any specific chametz, that it's totally hefker, and we're not going to be using it after Pesach. If you've left any chametz in your cubby, and you have some snacks there for the grandchildren who come, or whatever it might be. So I don't know if we have any chametz gomer. I'm probably the only one who might have chametz there with my children a little bit. But if any chametz that we have in shul, we're going to be selling as a shul, whatever we have in the kitchen. But any chametz that you personally have upstairs in your cubby that we do not know about, so you should be mevatel it and make it hefker and throw it out after Pesach. But we're going to be selling all the chametz in the kitchen and the whiskey and all of those things as part of our mechiras chametz. That's something that's important for our gabayim and president to know as well. I just like to. So today we spoke a little bit more halacha. I'm going to end off with a little bit of divrei chizik. Tomorrow we're going to focus a little bit more on the Seder, and the day after that we're going to focus a little bit more on the Seder because that's what's important. So I'll just end off with one thought. There is a concept that the Seder night is actually one of the most powerful nights in our Jewish calendar. The Seder night, if you look at the end of the Haggadah, there is the whole pismon of what happened balayla, right? It ends off with balayla. Imagine when it's hard to penetrate a specific, there's a shield, there's iron there, and you can't penetrate through. and then somebody is able to get one little crack through the hole, and then slowly to spread it and to spread it, and that becomes, that little crack is able to open up and to penetrate this unpenetratable shield. So the night of the Seder is actually that night that allows the Jewish people to always penetrate and be supernatural, and to be above the teva, and to be above anything that is the ordinary. And we're now living in a time period where we have no clue what tomorrow is going to be like, and the science has no clue, and all of the great minds of the world have no clue what's going to go on. It's a little bit of a lesson in modesty for humanity and for the entire world, and also for us, for the Jewish people, and that we realize that we're nothing. We know nothing in reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his might. The night of the Seder is the night that is always the night of miracles. It's the night where Avram Avinu, who went out with Eliezer, was able to beat huge empires, the four kings. He was able to overpower the four kings, which was a huge empire in those days. That happened Seder night. And you go through the entire story over there, the miracles that happened the Seder night, that Sarah, who can't have a baby, she's told that she's going to have a baby, and it's going to be supernatural, even though she's 100 years old, and something that we never can imagine. She was told she's going to have a baby. In the next year, she has a baby on Leila Seder. There's so many things that happen on the Seder night that Lot is saved from Sdom, and David HaMelech's roots are come out into fruition on the night of the Seder. So many things happen the night of the Seder. It's the night for us to pray, the night for us, and what's called Leil Shimurim, the night of guardian, where Hashem guards the Jewish people, and we have in our ability to overcome any difficulty. In fact, in the time of Mordechai and Esther, where Haman has this decree that he's able to pass and signed by the signature of the king, he wants to destroy the entire Jewish people. The final solution to wipe out the entire people. And the night of the Seder, they hear about this. Now, it's only going to take place in another year. They heard about it on Nisan. And Mordechai goes to Esther and he tells her, you have to go into the king. And she says, you fast for me for 3 days. Why did they have to do it right away? Maybe they should wait until Rosh Hashanah. And they should daven Rosh Hashanah time, where it's Dirshu Hashem B'imatzo. You should call out to God where he's around. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. That's where they should pray to Hashem. But no, Mordechai and Esther realized we're going to pray to Hashem right now. And they ordered a 3-day fast day. It was 3 days of fasting. What were the 3 days of fasting? It was the day before Erev Pesach. It was Pesach, and it was the second day of Pesach. It was 3 days leading up to Pesach. And the night of Leila Seder was the third, after 3 days of fasting. And the night of Leila Seder was the night that the entire Jewish people fasted, and that was the night of V'nahafochu, where everything turned around. And the next day that she invites them to the Mishnah, that's the first time that Esther eats, which is already after the Seder, which means that they did not have a Seder that year. That year, the entire Jewish people fasted and didn't have a Seder. Now, why would they not wait for a later time? Why would they not have a Seder? It's so important to have a Seder. It's so important to have a minyan. It's so important to go out and do all the things that we're used to doing. They realized that this was a sakana for Am Yisrael, and you don't play with the sakana. And they realized that the night of the Seder is the ultimate segula for being saved. And therefore, they decided to be extra tainus. As Yeshayahu Hanavi says, Ko amar Hashem be'eis ratzon ini sicha. In the time of will, ini sicha or ani sicha, it means two things. I will give you inuyim, but I will also answer your prayer. In the time where we have a little bit of inui, we have a little bit of pressure, a little bit of discomfort, is the time also where there's an ace ratzon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to answer our prayers. And they decided to fast that Pesach, and that was when the Yeshua came and was v'nafochu. I urge you to look at the piyut at the end of the Haggadah and to see all of the miracles that happened the night of the Seder. And I think this year we're going to add another, hopefully, Mirza Hashem, we're going to add another miracle to that list of miracles that happened the Seder night, which is v'nafochu that this entire coronavirus thing will be behind us. We'll be able to overcome it. We'll be able to reunite back as a community, to be able to reunite as a congregation, and to reunite with our families and with our loved ones, and to see a much better, stronger world when all of this is behind us. And therefore, I think our job during this time period is to prepare ourselves for Pesach, prepare ourselves for the Seder, not just physically, not just to make sure that it's clean, and not just to make sure that we have all of the dishes, but to prepare ourselves spiritually for Pesach. Open up the books, start learning, start understanding what the night is all about. It's a tremendous night with tremendous powers, and it is going to be so much more powerful this year because it will be a Seder like none of us have ever experienced. Nobody on this Zoom call has ever experienced a Seder like they will experience this year. Nobody. Everyone always had a different type of Seder, but this year is going to be like no other year, and therefore we're going to come prepared like no other year. Whether we are alone, whether we're just with our spouses, we're going to come prepared for this night, come prepared to pray for miracles, to experience miracles, and each and every one of us will experience their own personal Yeshua, their own personal sea splitting, and will be Zocha and will merit to go to the other side and to find ourselves much as a stronger people, more united people, in a much better world when all of this is behind us. So I'm going to unmute us right now. Would love to hear your comments, your feedback, not all at a time, one at a time. Thank you. A real pleasure.
Where? This here?
Okay, so if you want to mute yourself, you could, so you could hear. This is Oriel coming to say hello to everybody. It's good to see the Melamids on there. Bernie Melamed, good to see you with us.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, the kid.
What a special day today is.
Special day, that's right. This is Oriel. He's sending you a heart. Go like this, a heart.
Oh, wow.
Right back at you.
Look, they're all sending you hearts back.
Yeshaya's makbid to finish the chametz publicly in front of everybody.
Yes.
He's eating home in front of everybody. He wants to finish it.
Goldwicht,
Yes.
correctly, you don't say Shema Yisrael at night when you go to sleep.
That's right. I know that Safta is Sylvia, but I can't see you. That's right. We don't say Hamapil. We say Kriya Shema, we don't say Hamapil.
Remember my father coming in, remind me not to say the Shema.
Yes, you say just the Shema and a few of the psukim, but you don't say the entire Shema. You don't say Hamapil on Leil Seder. But it's Leil Shimur. Yes, Mark.
We had a real Shabbos this Shabbos. I went outside to my porch thinking I'm just going to daven by myself. Next thing I know, I look around. All the porches are filled. There are people in the towers who are also part of the minyan, with a Sefer Torah, with a chazan. We have the whole works.
Wow. Okay, excellent.
And now we're going to have a schedule for Pesach as well.
Okay, unbelievable. We're not going to get into.
What's that?
That's right. So first of all, the Jewish mind is always creative. There are a lot of different halachic issues with whether that's considered a minyan or not. If you need all 10 people to see that all 10 need to see all 10, or you just need to see part of the people. But I'm happy that you have that opportunity. Daven with a minyan.
I have a question.
Will you entertain a question about the Seder?
What? Remind me again?
Rabbi, at the Seder, we say the first half of Hallel before the meal, and then the rest of Hallel after the meal.
Yes.
Why do we break it up?
Why is the Hallel broken up? Okay, amazing, amazing. So maybe we'll discuss that tomorrow. We'll give it a whole shear. Hallel is an integral part of the Seder night, and it needs to be broken up with food in the middle. We have to know why we're breaking up our Hallel. The only time of the year where we break it up and we eat in the middle. We're having a whole meal in the middle of our Hallel. Why are we doing that? You know, that's a good topic. I'll discuss it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Miriam Stein has a question for you, Rabbi. Miriam Stein wants the podium.
Yes, Miriam Stein.
Miriam.
I don't have a question.
Oh, you just want to give us a wave.
I have a
I was
question.
very pleased to hear what you had to say. It was really very worthwhile and very touching and very informative.
Okay, thank you. You should know it's a big chizuk for us to see the Steins with us every single one of these Zoom calls. It's a big chizuk. So thank you.
It's really beautiful, said very well.
Rabbi.
And we do hope you also have a great, great Pesach. And we should really have the Geula, you know.
Amen. Amen.
We came out from Mitzrayim on Pesach, and the Geula was then, and the Geula will come back now.
Amen. Amen. We daven for it. We pray for it every day.
Rabbi, I have a suggestion to take out the lollipops in the show. I remember last year you ran in and took them away because some kids were coming and getting them. We don't know if they're.
That's right. So I'm not sure if all the lollipops are chametz, but the ones that are chametz, we're gonna take them away so that they won't be unless we sell them. We might sell them. We're gonna see.
I have a question.
Yes.
I did my self-cleaning oven last night, and I had the pan in there. Am I allowed to use the pan?
Yep,
I never clicked on it.
The pan is 100% kosher. Anything that survives the self-cleaning is libun chamor and is kosher lamahadrim.
Baruch Hashem, thank you.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
What did you say? You had something with self-cleaning oven?
Yeah, if you put something in a self-cleaning oven and it makes it alive, so then it's really amazing. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Pessy, it's great to see you, as always. We can't hear you, but we see you. Let me unmute you.
Yes, here she is.
I see them. I see who they are. I see them. I said see.
Pessy, you have to hit unmute on your computer. Otherwise, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now we hear you. Now we hear you.
First of all, I agree with everything that everyone said. Secondly, I wanted to mention that this davening from down in the villas is from somebody, a Chabad rabbi called Ehrman, and he is going to be davening Erev Chag 7:30, and every morning, including Hallel, and every morning 9 o'clock. So all the wolves and villas can come out on their balconies and we hear him.
So, Pessy, I'll let you know that this Rabbi Herman, his mother, is on this phone call. She's one of our congregants. That's Yehudit Herman. Yehudit, give a little wave to everybody.
Hi.
That's Rabbi Herman's mother. She's one of our congregants in our shul, and her son is Rabbi Herman. He has a shul on Hageonim Street. Apparently, he's doing a minyan, and I really hope that everyone is staying in their own homes and in their own balconies and staying really far away during that minyan.
Fantastic, because 18 floors up, I heard every word of the laning and Parshat Hagadol, and it was really Shabbat Hagadol. Yishar Koch, you did. Give out your.
I will tell him. I'll tell him. Yeah, I heard he told me after Shabbos.
Amazing.
About Torah and everything. Yeah, I heard about it.
Amazing, amazing.
Baruch Hashem.
Okay, everybody stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Same time, same place. Looking forward to it. This gives me a lot of chizik every single day.
There he is.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Yeshaya.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
She always says hello. That blonde, Sylvia Lakeland. She always says hello to me.
Ariella, Ariella, how you doing? Ariella, Rebbitzin.